Welcome to The Real World. My name is Cameron, joined by Carson.
That's right, Carson here.
And we are ready to talk on episode 99.
This is it.
Of The Real World podcast.
The penultimate episode before the epic.
Yeah.
I guess we don't really have seasons. We
No.
don't really do season finales, but...
The epic 100th episode.
Yeah, the 100th
It's a big
episode. I'm
deal.
excited. It'll be cool.
It's Father's Day. So we're talking about best movie dads. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Real World YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. Today is episode 99. We're talking about the best movie dads.
Yes.
But before we get started, we're going to kick things off as we usually do with some movie news. All right, so first up in movie news is Spielberg's new film.
Okay.
Which
the UFO movie?
It's rumored to be about UFOs.
Yep.
David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park, is writing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gearing up. So casting has begun.
Okay.
And the first cast member has been announced. The cast member that's been announced for this new Spielberg movie is Emily Blunt.
Okay. Emily Blunt's in Spielberg movie. Hopefully she's a mom.
That'd be great. She plays a great mom.
Spielberg has great moms in his movies.
He always does. So that's it. That's the first cast member. If this is about UFOs, I'm kind of thinking...
She's the alien queen.
It could be. Or is the movie going to be like Close Encounters? Is it going to be like War of the Worlds?
Wasn't he talking about a Close Encounters sequel for a long time?
E.T. sequel was in development for a while. I don't think he's ever talked about a Close Encounters sequel.
Okay.
From what I can recollect.
Interesting.
But possible.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, Spielberg, he's a sure bet, regardless of what he does.
Absolutely.
Even, I think, some of his weaker movies. I haven't seen 1941 or whatever. I haven't seen that.
His worst film.
Worst film that universally is like his worst. I really want to see it.
Yeah.
But even I think some of his weaker movies like Ready Player One or BFG.
Oh, yeah.
I think those are still great films.
Yeah, me too. I agree. All right, let's move on to our next item, which is Zack Snyder.
Of course.
He's back in the news.
Rebel Moon Part 10.
Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2 director's cuts.
That's right.
Have been announced. Okay, so they got new titles, new runtime.
This isn't going to confuse anyone at all.
No. They've talked about this a lot ever since they first announced this. That It's going to be a PG-13, audience-friendly, theatrical.
So what are the new titles for Parts 1 and 2?
The Parts 1 and 2 are Part 1, Chalice of Blood.
It's a cooler title than Child of Fire. And Child of Fire is a cool title, but Chalice of Blood is cool.
And then Part 2, Curse of Forgiveness.
Okay. What was the original title for Part 2?
The Scargiver.
Scargiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like both of those.
Yeah.
Curse of Forgiveness, yeah.
Interesting.
It sounds much more like novel titles than they sound like movie titles.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of how he thought it out, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Then the runtimes have been announced.
Yeah.
So the Netflix versions we have now are about right at 2 hours, both of them. Really close to 2 hours.
Second one feels a lot longer than 2 hours.
Part 1, director's cut, is 3 hours and 21 minutes.
Wow. This is a Zack Snyder Justice League length film.
Pretty close.
It's pretty amazing.
Close. Part 2, 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Barely under 3.
Yeah. So all in all, it'll be over 6 hours to watch both parts back to back. Which is what I plan on doing.
That's like the length of the Lord of the Rings extended editions. It's pretty amazing.
I plan on, when they come out, coming home from work, sitting down and watching both back to back. That's my plan.
What a day that'll be.
A day that will live.
That's what we did with Justice League. As soon as it dropped.
That's right. 4 hours. We sat down and watched all the way through.
4 hour. That was epic.
It was so cool. So very excited about those. Those are both dropping on August 2nd, so very soon.
Very soon. Right around the corner.
So we'll let you know what we think when those are released.
Any other news?
Last but not least, Inside Out 2 is now in theaters.
That's right, baby.
And guess what? It's killing it at the box office.
Good.
13 million just in preview showings on Thursday night.
Wow.
Huge.
Very big.
Opening night.
School's out.
Our theater was packed.
Yeah, our school was totally our school.
School is out.
School is out, as I'm saying.
School is out. Theater's full.
Theater's full, that's right.
So it's projected now. It was originally projected for about 80 to 90 million weekend. Now it's projected for over 100, possibly even $150 million opening weekend, which would be the biggest of the year.
Hey, I'm all for it. If any movie deserves it right now, it's Inside Out 2.
I
We just
agree.
watched it,
Yeah.
and
Check out our reaction.
it's a terrific film.
It really is.
I really enjoyed it.
Very well made.
Pixar, they never let down. They've never disappointed. They keep hitting those home runs.
In true form. They're doing great.
Yes.
They're doing great.
I'm repping Pixar today.
That's right.
My incredible shirt.
That's right.
Talking about movie dads.
I think you're showing your hand a little bit. One of your dads might be Mr. Incredible. So yeah, very exciting stuff. We'll have to wait and see what it does, but yeah. So that's it for movie news, folks. Now we're on to our main topic. All right, folks, we're now into our main topic.
That's right.
Best movie dads. Not best dad movies.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about specific characters,
Yeah.
which we rarely do. We usually rank a top 5 action movies or top 5 sci-fi or whatever.
Yeah, I'd say Top Gun ranks in our best dad movies, but not a movie about a dad.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
Goose is a dad, so
Yeah, I guess.
Okay,
Well, sure.
if you want to talk about Goose,
But we're talking about fathers in movies.
correct.
The characters.
Yes.
Not necessarily the
Characters.
films themselves.
Correct. Yeah. So the movie doesn't have to be great, but if the dad in it is great, then we'll talk about it.
For sure.
So we tried to come up with a top 10. Is that what you have? Top 10, right?
I've got 10 honorable mentions and 10 on my main list.
Okay. Okay. That's I think what I have too.
Okay, cool.
So let me see here. Let's start with honorable mentions.
Okay. To me, I think one of the most difficult parts of making these lists was the order. Because I had an idea of the dads I wanted,
Right.
but putting them in order and saying that this dad's better than that dad is really tough.
It is.
It was a lot
It
tougher
is.
than I thought.
I know. I was up till like 1 a.m. last night trying to come up with this list. It
What was
difficult.
your criteria for this ranking?
Well, they just had to be a great dad. I mean, great dad is, a loving, caring individual
Sure.
who also imparts wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's a protector.
Yep.
That's a major role of a father.
Definitely.
He's
Provider.
also a provider.
Yep.
That's a big one. Prophet and priest.
Yeah.
Those are our 4 Ps, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
But yeah, the movies, the dads in movies.
Mhm.
To me, I just kind of thought of the ones that stood out to me the most, the ones that were most memorable, whether it's memorable lines of dialogue.
Okay.
Some of these I have quotes from these fathers because they have just iconic quotes.
Yeah.
Some of them are very action oriented,
Okay.
because the story revolves around them protecting their children in some way or something like
Right.
that.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
But yeah, it's the kind of stalwart, solid
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
individuals
Yeah.
who just are leaders, and sometimes they go through an arc.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. So
you
my
know?
criteria.
Sometimes they don't start off like a
Right.
good dad.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So there are definitely dads that start off a little rough and end up being great dads, or that start out great and kind of sometimes become villains or whatever. So yeah, my criteria for what makes a great movie dad is really just comparing this to our real life dad.
Sure.
Which one of these?
the best
Which
dad.
one of these is the most like our dad? Because our dad is really the best.
Right.
So that was kind of a big factor into mine. Is like,
Yes.
are they like my dad? Are they whatever? Movie dads that my dad likes?
Sure.
Stuff like that
sure.
came into
Yes,
factor quite a
okay.
bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
so
sense, for sure.
that's part of my criteria. But honorable mentions. We'll start
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
we've got some movies to get through.
Yeah, go for it.
So number 10, honorable mentions
Mhm.
is P.T. Barnum from The Greatest Showman.
Interesting.
That's my
This
number
is
10.
Dad's a big fan of this.
Dad's a big fan of this movie. It's a
Yes.
very dad character of our dad.
Right.
But he's great. Hugh Jackman does a great job
He is,
at humanizing this character. It's based
He
on a
makes-
real person.
He makes mistakes.
He makes mistakes for sure.
He messes up.
Yeah, he kind of has
but
an arc.
He always comes back around.
But at the end,
Mhm.
he gives it away and he spends time with his family and makes the right decision. So yeah, P.T. Barnum. Number 10 honorable
Great.
mention. What's
Great.
your 10?
I'm gonna go with Father Robinson from Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, good pick.
This was tough to cut.
I didn't even think about
This
that
this
one.
was in my top 10 for a while.
That's a great pick.
Until it got shuffled around.
I usually think
Great
of the
dad.
kids in that movie, but the dad is really good.
The dad and mom are both central figures in the
Yeah,
film.
you're right.
And, I mean, as soon as they arrive on this island after their shipwreck, first thing they do is pray.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
He protects them. He
Mhm.
imparts wisdom to them.
Yeah.
He
Helps him catch a tiger.
He's a disciplinarian too. He
Sure.
disciplines them when they mess up.
Yeah.
He's a great dad.
It's a great dad. You're right.
He's a great dad.
That's a
So
good example.
That was tough to cut.
I love
but
that.
had
That's
to be
our
honorable
Disney
mention.
Movie Club exclusive anniversary collection
Absolutely.
copy.
The 55th anniversary.
Pretty
edition.
rare. Very cool.
rare.
Very cool copy.
So check it out. Maybe I'll do a Blu-ray review on that soon.
All right, my number 9 for honorable mentions
Yeah.
is Peter Pan from the movie Hook. Okay?
Oh, Robin Williams.
Robin
Peter
Williams,
Pan.
Peter Pan from the movie Hook.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
He doesn't start out as the best dad.
Sure.
He's
sure.
kind of obsessed with work. It's a very
Right.
90s, 90s cliche dad.
Right. Right.
But by the end, it's all about his relationship with his son
Yep.
and his daughter.
Yep.
He becomes a great, great father.
You're
So
right.
that's my number 9.
Excellent choice. My next one is going to be Schwarzenegger as John Matrix in Commando.
Oh, okay. This is an intense man.
This is here's the thing. When I was thinking about this, and I was like, he's kind of just action guy the whole movie.
Yes.
But the opening montage,
Mm-hmm. With him,
he's a great dad.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
sure.
like having fun, playing around, eating ice cream.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a really good dad, and he's a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
Which some of these are.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is more difficult.
Sure.
And he's the ultimate action hero at the same
For
time.
sure,
He
for
goes
sure.
and protects her, rescues her from being kidnapped,
Yeah.
and
Definitely a good pick.
saves the day.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that one had to make the cut because that's a fun one.
My number 8, I think you're going to be a little surprised. My number 8 is Caesar from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, I did consider this.
Okay.
I considered it. Didn't
Okay.
make the list.
Really?
No.
Oh, I thought it'd be higher on your list because you love Caesar.
I do. He's a great character.
He's a great dad.
He is.
He's a great dad to. What's his son's name? Is it
Well, there's Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes? That's right.
And
That's
then
what I was
there's the
thinking.
baby Cornelius.
Cornelius.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's just a great mentor and leader to his people. Yeah, I love Caesar. I just recently rewatched all the Apes movies, and he just stands out as a great dad. I would have said War. I was on the fence between him being a dad in War
Sure.
opposed to him in, but I think Dawn he gets a little bit more to do
Right.
there.
I agree. As a dad, yeah.
So-
His and Blue Eyes relationship is
Yeah.
central to that film.
For sure. And Koba.
Yeah.
We love Koba.
Great pick.
All right, what's your number 8?
Had to go with Pongo.
Pongo, old boy.
101 Dalmatians.
Yes, a father of 101 children.
Right? Because I was thinking cheaper by the dozen. Like, he's got tons of kids. How do you
Sure.
balance all that? And then I'm
Yeah.
like, Pongo outdoes them all. He's got 101.
That's right.
He takes care of all of them.
Yep, it's true.
He's a provider. He's a protector. He goes after them when they get kidnapped. A lot
Yeah.
like Commando.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, like he kind of
kind
goes in there.
of a shepherd to his sheep.
100%.
Yeah.
Loving, caring.
Mm-hmm.
Again, sets up boundaries. For the kids, like when they're watching the show, and he kind of tells them, what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
And when they need to go to bed.
For sure.
And-
Yeah,
I mean, it's like he's just a great dad all the way through the film.
it's a great pick. It's a great pick.
He's
Very
central.
strong pick.
Disney, as far as Disney dads, him and Father
Hey,
Robinson.
he's one of the few Disney dads that never dies.
That's true.
So
That's true.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so he had to make the cut.
All right, my number 7 is Ralphie Parker from A Christmas Story Christmas.
Oh, the sequel
The
to
sequel
A Christmas
to A
Story.
Christmas Story.
So Ralphie as the dad.
That's right.
Not Ralphie's dad.
Not Ralphie's dad, because I think Ralphie's dad is actually a terrible dad.
It's pretty bad.
But Ralphie Parker's great.
He is.
He's
He
great
is,
to his
yeah.
kids.
Mhm.
He kind of indulges in that childlike
Right.
nature with his kids sometimes.
Yep.
He gives them a great Christmas.
Yes.
And it's really a story about him and his dad and
Yeah.
living up to his father.
For sure.
It's very heartwarming, very
Mhm.
touching. We watch it every year now
Yep.
since it came out just a couple years ago.
Yep.
But yeah, Ralphie Parker stands out now as a famous movie dad in my eyes. That's my number
Yeah.
7. What's yours?
I have Henry Brown from Paddington.
Okay.
The Paddington films are ones that we've watched numerous times.
Yeah.
And we are huge fans of these films because
Sure.
it's one of those things where the family dynamic just works as it should.
Absolutely.
The mom and dad, the kids, and then Paddington, who's really like an adopted child,
Sure.
basically.
Yeah.
And so I had to include this because Mr. Brown
Mr. Brown's a
is-
great father.
He's funny,
Mm-hmm.
he's wise, he's courageous,
And he relates to his kids a lot.
relates to his kids a
He's
lot.
kind of down to earth with
gets
his
on
kids.
their level,
Yeah.
knows how to communicate.
Mm-hmm. That's a great pick.
He's a great dad. So
Honestly,
I had to
one
pick
I didn't even consider, but it was a really good pick.
Yeah. There you go.
My number 6 for honorable mentions is Gregorio Cortez from the Spy Kids trilogy. We love Gregorio.
Love him.
The only reason he's not
Great.
higher is because he's not really an amazing dad, at least in the first movie.
Sure.
He kind of like is lying to his kids about who he really is,
Right.
and I guess he's like trying to keep them safe. But
Right.
he is a great dad for my childhood that I think of often. Gregorio Cortez.
Yeah.
He's got that super cool,
Yes.
suave spy nature.
Definitely.
And then when he's being a dad, he's kind of very bumbling
Right,
and buffoonish.
right.
He's kind of a Superman in that
He
way.
kind of is, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents can't be spies. They're not cool enough.
Right.
So, yeah, we love Gregorio. He's my
Yes.
number 6. What's yours?
Okay, good pick. This one is, to me, one of the ultimate dads. It's Geppetto
Ooh.
from Pinocchio.
This
And-
one's on my list.
Is he really?
This one's on my official list.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
This was tough to
especially
cut.
from Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
That's what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Great dad. He's one of those characters who really wants to be a dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a good dad to his son.
Yep.
Loses his son.
Yep.
And then Pinocchio comes into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of gets a second chance.
Yeah.
And the journey he goes on to
Mhm.
rescue his son.
Yeah.
Another harrowing
adventure.
You know?
For sure. Yeah.
So
Excellent pick. We'll talk more
he's
about
kind of the ultimate.
We'll talk more about Geppetto later because he's a little higher on my list.
Okay, good.
My number 5 is Ping from the Kung Fu Panda series.
Oh, Mr. Ping. Yeah,
Mr.
yeah, the
Ping,
goose.
the goose.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
I love Mr. Ping.
He's great.
He's a great supportive father.
Totally.
He runs a little noodle shop.
That's right.
He's always trying to get the Dragon Warrior to get people in his noodle shop.
That's right.
He wants his son to have noodle dreams,
Yes.
which I feel like is like an art house film out there somewhere called Noodle Dreams. But Ping is a great dad. We love Ping. I like him kind of more as the movies go on. He kind of gets more to do. I really liked him in 3.
Oh yeah, yeah. The third one, yeah. Because there's Poe's dad.
There's Poe's
and
dad
him.
and Mr. Ping. And we kind of
Very
get
interesting dynamic.
a better idea of the kind of dad that Ping was to Poe in that movie. So, yeah, definitely love Mr. Ping. That's my number 5.
Excellent. I had to go with Lone Wolf and Cub.
Okay. Good
Lone
pick.
Wolf.
Classic.
Ogami Ito
Yep.
is the character's name. Yeah, these are classic samurai movies. Very edgy, especially for the time. These were made back in the 70s.
Very
And-
Mandalorian-esque.
Mandalorian draws a lot from this whole idea of a father and his very young son.
Mhm.
I mean, infant, basically,
Yeah.
son.
How many movies are in the Lone Wolf and Cub series?
6 films.
Really?
All great.
It's a saga.
It's a saga. It's absolutely a saga, and it's quite
It's
a
more of a
journey
saga
to
than the Mad Max
take.
saga.
It really is. It's very well worth watching.
Awesome.
I considered not putting him in there because he is putting his child at great danger at every turn, but there's no mother, so he
Sure.
doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you going to do when you're a lone samurai?
That's right.
Good pick.
Yeah, so
Good pick.
I
Very
had to
good.
pick it.
My number 4 from Across the Spider-Verse is Peter B. Parker.
Oh, the second. Okay, yes.
Peter B. Parker from
the
Across the
second,
Spider-Verse.
when he's got little
Mayday Parker.
Mayday.
That's right.
That's right.
He's a great dad in that
Wow.
movie. He's great to
He
Mayday.
is. He
I mean,
is,
sure,
yeah.
he's putting her in Spider-Verse adventures,
Sure.
but he's Spider-Man.
Mary
you
Jane
know,
would
he
not
can,
approve.
He can take care of it. I love his little scene with MJ that they have
That's true. They have a
talking
good
about
scene.
May.
Mhm.
But they're just adorable.
Yes.
He's a very good like millennial dad, doing like obvious millennial dad stuff.
Right.
He's very fun and funny.
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker is a classic character,
Yeah.
and
he's great.
I love seeing him with Mayday, and I
But
love
also
I love
his-
that being the result of his relationship with Miles.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. He was already a mentor to Miles, and that kind of helped
Exactly.
him along the journey
Yeah,
to fatherhood. Good pick.
So
Good
very
pick.
good. Yeah,
Very good.
that was my number 4.
Okay. Man, there's so many great ones here.
Are you making this up as you
I'm
go
kind of
along?
making this up a little bit as I go.
We got a
along
little
because I'm really not sure.
Is that a Han line or an Indy line?
a what?
I'm making this up as I go. Is that a Han line or an Indy line?
Indy.
It's an Indy line. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Big Fish.
Big Fish.
I had to talk about Big Fish because this is one of the ultimate father-son stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's my number 3. So.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, honorable mention.
This was tough to cut.
I love
This is my
Big Fish.
favorite Tim Burton film.
It is. It's really close between that and Ed Wood for me. I really like Ed Wood, but Big Fish.
Ewan McGregor.
Big Fish is like the culmination of Burton's works.
I agree. It's a combination of everything he does well.
And it's got Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, of course.
But Ewan McGregor's the standout.
Ewan McGregor, Albert Finney,
Yeah.
Billy Crudup. Great dynamic.
Yeah.
Great story.
Great father-son story.
Oh, man. It's so good.
Very romantic. Very, yeah, it's just a great fantasy adventure.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love Big Fish.
Had to be talked about.
Yeah, very, very.
It's very good.
Excellent film.
All right,
that's also my number 3. What's your number 3?
Oh, yes. I'm going to go with Logan.
Okay.
Because Logan...
Now, the reason I don't have Logan on my list is because I think he's a terrible dad.
Again, it's one of those where he starts off terrible.
Sure.
And he kind of learns along the way. It's very much an arc. Like
Now, I think he's a terrible dad to anyone except for X-23. To X-23, his dadship kind of works for her.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's his daughter.
Exactly.
So that's who I'm focusing on.
Yeah. She's even more of a feral animal than he is.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you deal with that, you know?
Yeah.
And he struggles a lot, but by the end, they come to really care for each other.
Yeah. Logan's a classic.
The final scene, it gets me every time.
Have you seen Logan in noir yet? In black and white? I haven't seen it. I really want to.
Gotta watch it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I hear it's good. All right, my number 2 is Phil Weston from Kicking and Screaming. Will Ferrell's maybe his greatest comedic role in history. I honestly, truly love Phil Weston and Kicking and Screaming. Yeah, this is a family classic of ours.
Oh, yeah.
This is a movie we quote endlessly, a movie our dad quotes a lot.
Yep.
The only reason he's not a little higher is because he's maybe not the best dad. He's a little full of himself. I mean, he learns a lot by the end of the movie. He becomes a really great dad.
Right.
But the lesson is coffee will make a good dad bad. So stay away from coffee, kids. It's bad for you.
So true. True words have not been spoken.
What's your number 2? Honorable mention.
Man. So difficult because... I've got to pull this one out. Because if I don't, I'll just feel like I've betrayed our father.
Oof.
It's War of the Worlds.
This one's on my list.
Is it in your top 10?
I think it is.
Here's the thing. It's another one where it starts off as a pretty bad dad. He doesn't really know his children very well at all.
Yeah. This is the ultimate arc, I think.
It's a great arc, though.
The ultimate, bad dad to good dad arc.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a very good arc.
Super good.
Tom Cruise is fantastic. Dakota Fanning.
It's honestly one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies.
I agree. No, it's definitely one of his best.
Very, very good. Fantastic.
One of the best Spielberg. I mean, Spielberg.
I know. He never lets down.
It's great.
If Spielberg's new movie is anything like War of the Worlds...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm sold.
100%.
Imagine War of the Worlds, but with a mom instead of a dad.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be pretty great.
It could.
Emily Blunt.
Could be great.
So my number 1 honorable mention, and it pains me not to put this one on the list,
I know. It's how I feel about a lot of these.
Duke Leto Atreides.
Whoa! From Dune. Didn't make it, huh?
Didn't make it. Didn't quite make it.
He's right on the cusp.
He's right there.
Yeah.
I think he's an A-tier father.
He is.
I love Leto Atreides.
Yeah.
I love hearing about him in the sequel.
The second one, yeah.
It makes me like him more in retrospect. Because of what the Emperor says about him, because of how Paul thinks about him.
Yep.
But to me, the scene in the graveyard is the perfect scene. When Leto's telling Paul, even if you don't become Duke of Fast Atreides, you'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be, just my son.
Yeah.
And it's perfect and emotional.
Yeah.
He's a very heart-forward character who thinks with empathy and compassion first.
He does.
He's very honorable. Even the Fremen,
Very honorable.
Even the Fremen call him honorable.
Absolutely.
I love Leto Atreides. He's a great mentor.
Yeah.
And he's
a great authoritative figure.
Yeah.
As well.
Mm-hmm.
A great leader.
Yeah.
To his people and to his family.
Yeah.
And, we have to cultivate desert. Like the whole, all of his lines and all of his.
He knows he's out of his depth.
His thoughts.
But he still has that confidence and drive.
100%.
He's a great ruler and leader.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
For sure. Yeah, it pained me not to put him in my top 10.
Yeah.
What's your number 1 final honorable mention before we get started? This is it, folks. He's deciding on the spot. In his library of oh boy, it's got to be
Master Splinter. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The best. One of the best father figures ever.
Yeah.
He's so wise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He trains his children.
Yeah.
Very well.
Mm-hmm. His mutant turtle children,
Right.
who aren't really allowed to go out in public.
Right.
Very
Right.
difficult job as a father.
Very difficult. Very
Yeah.
difficult. He's maybe a little overbearing. Maybe
Sure.
a little bit.
But I love that by the end, and I assume you're talking about the 90s TMNT movie.
Well, I don't know. I kind of lean towards Mutant Mayhem. The
Okay.
Jackie Chan version.
Sure.
Because I think he has a great balance of wisdom, instruction, training.
That one's
And
definitely
then-
more overbearing than
He
some
is.
of the others.
He is. But by the end,
Yeah.
I feel like he's...
Mm-hmm.
He realizes, okay, they need
Yeah.
to live a life. They need to have a
See,
life.
see,
basically.
my favorite Splinter, I think, is in the original Ninja
Really?
Turtles movie.
Okay.
Because
I made it funny.
pretty much, well, the animated funny is his final arc. His culmination is that. But the rest of the whole movie is preparing his children for his
Yeah,
death.
he's very serious, yeah.
Every
Yeah,
scene he's in,
true.
he's basically
Mhm.
saying, "Leo, you're gonna have to
Mhm.
take over when I
Mhm.
die because I'm gonna die
Yeah.
soon."
Right.
It's surprising that he doesn't die in that movie.
Right, right. Well, it comes
Because-
very close. They
yeah.
think he's dead, basically.
He's like preparing
like
them
on
the whole
cusp of
time
death,
that
so.
that they're gonna lose their father. And every great father must prepare his children
Yeah.
for his own death.
That's true.
I forget what movie that's from. Yeah, I think of the famous Black Panther quote,
Yeah,
"A father's job is to prepare his children for his own death."
right.
Kind of butchered that line, but
Something like
to me, that's what Splinter does
Yeah.
best. I
Yeah.
think in the Ninja Turtles franchise.
Does it very well.
So yeah, that's a great pick. It's a great pick for sure.
Yeah, there's so many others.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a list on Letterboxd of 100
Yeah.
of the best movie dads.
Check it out.
So you can check that out.
Yeah.
We'll mention many of the others that I'm sure you're screaming, why isn't that one on there?
Mm-hmm.
But now we're ready for our top 10.
This is it. Our official top 10 best movie dads, not dad movies.
Here we go. All right, here we go. Top 10 movie dads. Carson's kicking us off. What do you have in at number 10?
This is it. Number 10 movie dad, I have Daniel Hillard from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
The
Robin
father,
Williams.
Robin
yes.
Williams. Robin Williams has made my honorable mention and my official
That's
list.
right.
Because I think he's played a lot of great
Played
dads.
at least two great dads.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, look, this is a dad who
Very
cares
funny.
more about his children
Yeah.
than maybe any other dad I've ever seen in a movie. It's close.
right.
But he cares so much about them that he kind of takes it over the line.
Right.
He kind of crosses the line a little bit, and maybe permanently scars his children.
Yes.
But I love Mrs. Doubtfire. I just watched
Yeah.
it recently.
Right.
I hadn't seen it
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I loved it. Very emotional
Mhm.
heart to the movie. Father in the middle of a divorce
Yeah.
who just cannot survive without his children.
Yep.
And it really works as a Robin Williams role. He
Oh,
really
yeah.
fits into that
Oh, yeah,
perfectly.
for
He's
sure.
basically playing himself the whole movie. Because
Right.
the movie
Yeah,
opens
yeah.
with him as
He's
a
an
voice
animation
actor.
voice actor.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
That's right.
But yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire is my number 10.
Good choice.
What's yours?
My number 10 is... So the movie is not perfect.
This pains you to say.
I still like this movie. I think it's underrated. I think it's a really good sequel.
Okay.
It's just the first one is so good that it's kind of hard to...
What is it?
It's
I gotta
The Mummy
know.
Returns.
The Mummy Returns.
Rick O'Connell.
Rick O'Connell. Okay.
Rick O'Connell
Sure.
from The Mummy, played
Yeah.
by the great Brendan Fraser.
That's right. Fraser. Not Frasier.
Not Frasier. Not the show. So
Good pick.
in that first movie, he's this wild adventurer,
Yep.
selfish,
Mhm,
arrogant character.
He thinks with his guns first.
100%. Yeah. That's why he needs Evie, right?
I love Evie.
Evie's the smart.
They
Evie's the
are one of
intelligent.
my favorite couples. If we were doing
That's
a
the
couples list, they'd be high on my list.
100%. Right. So they become a couple in that first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly balance each other out.
Yeah.
Then you get to see the fruition of that
Yeah.
in the second film.
Yeah.
That's why
Sure.
the second film to me is really underrated and
Mhm.
it's really strong. The story's not as strong,
Sure.
but the character dynamics are great.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get to see them as a married couple with a young son
That's right.
who is just as adventurous as they are
Mm-hmm.
and getting into all kinds of mischief.
That's right.
But they discipline him
Mhm.
very well.
Yep.
They, it's one of these where, he's a very adventurous dad,
Mm-hmm.
brings the kid along with him.
Sure.
Most parents wouldn't do that.
No.
Most parents would be like, you're going off to boarding school or something while we're going to treasure hunt.
That's kind of how I imagine Indiana Jones would be as a dad.
Well, we know how Indiana Jones is as a dad, and he's not great. That's why he didn't make the list.
Poor Mutt Williams.
Poor Mutt. Poor kid.
the result of Indy being a father results in Shia LaBeouf. So
Right.
we know how that ends up.
Exactly. But no, Rick O'Connell is very loving. He's kind. He's protective. He's also just cool.
He's very cool.
He's funny. You know, like we were saying, he's in love with Evelyn, which I think is a very important element
Sure.
of being a good dad. It's showing affection for your wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that people don't discuss enough. I
Yeah,
think.
definitely.
And
definitely.
that's an important part of being a good parent.
And
So,
that's a quality that I think's embodied in my number 9 pick.
Uh-oh, what you got?
Steve Stronghold, a.k.a. the Commander from Sky High.
Yes, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
As a superhero.
Maybe-
We never thought we'd get that.
We've seen Kurt Russell as a dad a couple times. He's a dad
Sure.
in Guardians Volume 2 as well.
Terrible dad.
Terrible dad there. This is like the opposite of that.
Opposite.
He is like the ultimate superhero father. He's got responsibilities,
Mhm.
but he cares so much about his son.
He does.
And he's got expectations.
That's the thing. That's the thing about this dad.
I know.
He's got problems.
He's got expectations. He has
Because-
prejudices against
Sidekicks.
sidekicks, for sure.
People without powers.
Lower class citizens,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But he's got that arc. He's got that love
He
for his
does.
wife. His wife straightens him
Sure.
out and
Yep.
shows him, hey,
Yep.
even though our son doesn't have powers
Right.
and we can't be the Stronghold 3, the greatest family of
Mhm.
superheroes the world has ever known,
Mhm.
we will be the Stronghold 3, the greatest family the world has
That's
ever known.
right. That's right.
You're right, and he
He's a
can
great
always
one.
go into real estate. So, yeah, I just love
Yeah.
the Commander. He's such a fun character.
He is.
He just embodies heroism.
He's very big,
He's very big
very-
and bold.
boisterous, you know.
But he's also gets cross with Will sometimes.
He does.
When Will inadvertently
He
throws a
does.
party at his house.
That's right. That's
He's
right.
he's like he's
he
the
kind
commander.
of disciplines him,
Well,
but then he
it's
takes him
difficult
downstairs
because
and
he's so proud of him because he has powers now.
Right.
So he's like, if
He
mom
kinda lets
asks,
it
if
slide,
mom asked,
right.
I take away your Xbox.
Right.
But Dad, I don't have an Xbox. Oh really? And gives him an Xbox. Amazing. So funny. Great comedy.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, maybe not
Yeah.
like the best,
Right.
but
he does learn. By
He
the
learns
end,
and he
by
grows.
the end, he calls the sidekicks heroes.
that's right.
I mean,
That's
it's
right.
it's a pretty good arc.
He learns from his son. So yeah, great movie.
Okay, good.
That's my
Underrated.
number- that's my
I didn't
number
even
9.
Think about him really. So that's a good. That's a good. There's so many, you know.
There are.
Speaking of Guardians 2,
Uh
I'm
oh.
going with Guardians 2. Of course, I'm not picking.
It's not Ego, is it?
It's not Ego.
Oh boy.
Worst dad. If we were doing worst dad list, he would be on it.
Sure,
probably.
sure, yeah.
He might be at the top.
He's pretty bad.
He's really bad.
Yeah.
No, it's of course Yondu.
He may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy.
Oh man, what a great line.
Yeah.
What a great moment.
Yondu's a great character.
So here's the thing.
Even though he kidnapped Quill and basically tortured him for the rest of for his entire childhood.
Well, here's the thing. We're told that.
That's what we're told. Sure.
What we're shown
Mm-hmm.
in this very brief montage of Peter Quill growing up
Yeah.
is Yondu teaching him.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's teaching him how to be a criminal, basically.
Yeah.
But
He's good
you
for
know,
thieving.
right, exactly. He's tough love. He's a tough
he
love dad.
really does have a heart for Quill.
He does deep down.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
what they explain in the Christmas special.
The Christmas special.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if you don't see the Christmas special, you're
Mhm.
missing a pretty good chunk of Peter Quill's development
For sure.
with Yondu.
For sure, yeah.
That's a very important,
Mm.
special.
Part of me kind of wants to
important
watch that
moment.
before 2, because it kind of makes 2 more impactful, but it takes
I think
place,
you could watch it
takes place
after
before
and still
3.
make it work.
Yeah.
Um,
Very cool, though.
it's great. He's a great, again, tough love type dad.
Sure.
But he's very protective. There's that scene in
He
Volume
sacrifices everything for Quill.
100%. Well, yeah, I mean, literally he dies
Yeah.
at the end of Volume 2.
Yeah.
But
he loses
Volume-
the Ravagers and everything.
think about Volume 1, though.
Yeah.
When he finally gets Quill, and he's
Mhm.
like, I'm going to feed you to these guys.
Yeah.
And
Normal people don't even think
Right,
about eating
right.
other people.
and then he gives him a big hug. And then in Volume 2,
Mhm.
Kraglin, he's like, I got to say it. You're too soft on him, Captain.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, because Clarken's really jealous
Sure.
of Quill.
Right. Because they're kind of like stepbrothers,
Yeah.
basically.
But they grow.
They grow. They all grow. A lot of character growth in those
James
Guardians
Gunn does a
movies.
great job at getting all these, like, disconnected characters who are,
Mhm.
like, loosely related through other characters
Right.
and bring them together in a cool way.
He does.
Yeah.
100%. So Yondu, there's the emotional impact of Volume 2 that I
Mhm.
was not expecting.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's phenomenal. It really comes out of nowhere.
builds off Volume 1 very well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it kind of does come out of nowhere and hits you hard.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's a
you
great
had to make
pick.
it. You
That's
had
an
to make
awesome number 9.
it. So you're on to number 8.
My number 8 is Ray Farrier from War of the Worlds,
Great pick.
of course.
Great pick.
This is one of our dad's favorite films.
Yes.
One of my favorite Tom Cruise roles ever.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing in this movie.
Definitely.
Like you said, starts out not even really knowing who his kids are at all. Literally
Doesn't know what they're allergic
knowing nothing
to.
about them.
Doesn't know what they're allergic to. Doesn't know what they're into.
Which makes it really funny.
Doesn't know what kind of food they like.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's so many moments
Yeah.
that you get
Mhm.
that tell you, like, yeah, this guy, he doesn't know what's going on with these kids.
But he still has this sense of, I've got to make it up to him. I've got to protect them.
Yeah.
I've got to do everything I can to keep them safe.
There's that great big moment, kind of one
Mhm.
of the emotional climaxes of the film, where his son basically goes after him and says, "You just want to dump us on Mom. You're just trying to get us to Mom so that you can dump us on her and you can go and leave."
Right.
And that's a big moment for
sure.
him.
Yeah.
A kind of wake up call.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Okay, you know, I got to be the dad."
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure.
From that point on,
It's really his coming of age story.
it kind of
It's
is.
kind of cool.
It's true. It's true.
His
Yeah.
children mentor him into becoming the dad that they need,
Right.
which is really cool.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Dakota
I mean,
Fanning is a big part of
Dakota
that
Fanning's
film.
awesome. She's
great.
fantastic in that movie. Spielberg really knows how to direct kids,
Really does.
like
It's
in a big
incredible.
way.
Yeah.
And yeah, this again, I think it's the ultimate dad arc, going from one of the worst dads to one of the best. So
100%.
yeah, he's high up on my list, really because of that arc.
Yeah.
That's my number 8.
Great pick. My number 8 is one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh boy.
It's The Lion King. Disney's 1994 animated version of The Lion King.
Never thought we'd have to specify that.
Right.
The day has come.
Yes, it has, unfortunately. Mufasa.
That's right.
Just saying it gives me chills. Say it again. Mufasa is one of the best movie dads. 100%.
He definitely mentors his son in a big way.
He's very wise.
Very wise.
That's why I'm actually kind of curious about this prequel movie.
Yeah,
I'm kind of curious
I'm on
because
the
I kind
fence
of want
about
to
it.
know, like...
I think that if this had come out instead of the Lion
Right.
King live action film,
Right.
I'd be more excited for
I
it.
agree. But he's very wise. He's obviously a very strong character.
For sure.
He's a king, so
Mm-hmm.
he's a ruler. He rules the land very well.
Yeah.
I would say pretty fairly as well.
Sure.
And
But that's why he has to die. Because
Correct.
he's one of the... This is, again, like the Disney dads... I know that people always complain that Disney dads always die.
Right.
But for characters like Mufasa,
Yeah.
it really matters that they do.
Yeah.
Because they're flawless characters.
Correct.
Mufasa has basically no
Correct.
issues.
Yes.
He has no arc.
Right.
He has no growth.
Right. Yeah, he serves one purpose in the story. It's to mentor Simba and to bring Simba into his role as king.
Exactly.
That's his whole purpose.
Yeah. That's the role in like the Disney formula, I guess, if there was a formula. That's usually the role of the mentor figure.
Right.
Is to be kind of a flawless, straightforward hero that...
Here's kind of the ideal that you're
Exactly.
striving towards.
Exactly.
So that our protagonist can come through his journey and come out on the other side, better. So yeah.
So people say that it's because Walt Disney hates parents, but I think
No,
it's actually
right.
because he loves them.
He loves story.
Yeah.
He loves story and he loves he does love parents for sure. So great character, of course, brilliantly voiced by James Earl Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic
A
performance.
much better father than his other famous father role.
Definitely. Darth Vader did not make the list. He's pretty great in Return of the Jedi, though.
I wouldn't say
One scene.
great. I
He has
wouldn't
one
say
great
great.
scene, I guess.
Cut off his son's hands.
But
Bring him to
another-
the most evil man in the universe.
Right. Another thing about Mufasa, he can be very playful too. He's not just this strict authoritarian.
No, sure, yeah.
He's like your first pouncing lesson.
Mhm.
Zazu, turn around. You know that whole scene is so
Yeah, yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And he's like wrestling with him.
Mhm.
Lays down the law though when he goes to the elephant graveyard.
Doesn't want to get out of bed.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's very relatable. But I love that he disciplines him when he goes into the place he's not supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
They have that great conversation about. I'm only brave when I have to be.
Yeah.
That we don't go looking for trouble.
Mhm.
Even I get scared sometimes. All that stuff really works. And he's one of the best. His memorable line is, "The sun will set on my time as king, and rise with yours."
Mhm.
That's a great
good line.
It kind of sums up
Really
the story.
embodies Mufasa's character for
100%.
sure. Yeah, great pick. That was your number 8.
That was 8. What do you got at 7?
So my 7 is Mr. Little from Stuart Little.
Oh yes, of
Now
course.
specifically Stuart Little 2. Because he is a great father in Stuart Little 1 for sure.
That's when the adoption
He is.
happens.
That's when the adoption happens and it's awesome and everything. But Stuart Little 2, we get these moments of mentorship between Stuart and Mr. Little. Of like, I just love Stuart Little too. I can't.
Great.
It's one of my
Great
favorite.
movie.
It's literally one of my favorite movies ever.
Yes.
Just because it's endlessly optimistic and joyful.
True.
And Mr. Little, he disciplines his son, like
Sure.
fairly.
Oh yeah.
When like Will like is lying about where Stuart is,
Right.
he's like, Dad, am I in trouble? He's like, no, son, you're in big trouble.
Right.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know. And they leave that off screen, of course, because that's important.
Sure,
but
right.
but yeah, to Stuart, the movie starts very optimistically and winds up Stuart's worst day. Stuart's worst day is Mom's mad.
Yeah.
George doesn't want to play with me.
Right.
You know, it's the worst day.
Right.
He of course ends up in a garbage barge, but it's the lesson of the silver lining.
Yeah.
Look at the bright side of things. Like things could be worse.
Sure.
Things will turn up. Things will get better.
Mm-hmm.
Just be optimistic, and it'll be okay.
Right.
And he's always pushing his son to do the things that are gonna advance him as a person.
Yeah.
He wants him to go out for soccer. He wants him to, you know, fly the airplane. He wants him to whatever.
Right.
So yeah, he's a great emotional, supportive, optimistic, kind-hearted father who is one I will always remember. So
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
One that, you know, again, not a lot of people would probably think of. But again, it kind of shows you the personalities and our personal tastes in picking these films. So,
for sure.
Great choice. All right, I'm on to my number 7. It's The Road.
You know what? Never seen it. Never read the book.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Never read the book. I don't know the story
You're
at
kidding.
all. I have no idea what The Road is.
Okay, so I won't spoil anything.
Okay.
The character's name is The Man. Okay.
Great.
None of the characters have names. in this.
Totally nameless.
Nameless characters. The man and the boy
Okay.
are on a journey
Mm.
along the western coast of the United States
Okay.
to find
A thing.
humanity.
Oh, okay.
Something happened, and we're not really given a lot of information. That's what I love about
Great.
this universe
Yeah.
that they create in the book and the film.
Mm-hmm.
The film, it's one of the best adaptations I've ever seen.
Okay.
The book and the movie are like straight on.
Very
flawless.
cool. Awesome.
Viggo Mortensen plays the man.
Of course. Yeah.
Aragorn himself.
Mm-hmm. Who
Fantastic
would probably be a
performance.
great dad. Aragorn would probably be a great dad.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. And this dad is... It's like Mad Max, but real. So it's scary. It's
Okay.
not silly and
Not like Toe
you know,
Cutter
fun.
or Morton
No,
Joe.
no.
Yeah.
The bad guys in this are deadly.
Yeah.
And they're scary guys.
Yeah.
So he has to protect his son at every turn. You
Mhm.
never know when something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
They're trying to survive
Okay.
because they have to find food.
Mm-hmm.
They're just literally, they have nothing. They
Yeah.
have a shopping cart, basically. They're like hobos.
Homeless dad. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Hobo dad. That's great.
You get the backstory in the film.
Okay.
The book doesn't really cover a lot of like before whatever happened.
Sure. Yeah.
But Charlize Theron is the mom,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to find out what happened to
Huh.
her and why she's not with them and that
That's
whole
cool.
thing.
I'm intrigued. I'm interested in
You've
seeing
got to
it.
see it.
Yeah, I really want
You've got to
to.
see it. Read the book too.
I've
the
heard
book
good
is-
things.
The book is fantastic. It's one of the best books I've ever read. He's imparting wisdom constantly.
Mhm.
He's telling his son how to survive because he knows he might not make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very impactful story.
Yeah.
One of the best stories I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best. One of my favorite movies. Definitely one of the best movie dads because
Yeah.
of the incredibly difficult situation they're in.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
what they have to go through is
Great.
really harrowing.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check
Yeah,
it out.
definitely.
Very cool. What's the dad's name in that? Just man.
Man. The Man.
That's right.
The Man in the
Okay,
Road.
great. The Man. I love it.
He's the man.
All right, my number 6 is Geppetto from Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Wonderful.
This is a father who has lost everything.
Yes.
A very Job-like character.
That's true. Yeah. Good
Who kind of
comparison.
loses his wife. He loses his son.
Mhm.
He was a great father to his son.
Right.
Everyone he ever loved and everything he ever built
Yeah.
eventually just deteriorated. And he kind of just devoted himself to carving the statue and,
Right.
wishing that he had his life back. He kind of just is devoted to this solitude that he's in now,
Yep.
and he's given this new hope in the form of
True.
Pinocchio,
Yeah.
and Pinocchio really, because it's really a Geppetto story.
I agree.
Pinocchio
Yeah.
Pinocchio is the
The catalyst.
of the story for
Yeah.
Geppetto.
Right.
He's the mechanism through which Geppetto's arc is able to come into fruition.
Right.
He's the means by which Geppetto gets closure for
Mm,
the loss of his son
right.
and what he did with his life after his son was lost. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Geppetto I think is just a great character.
He is.
Great to see a good dad
Mhm.
who lost everything
Mhm.
and was given a second chance and was kind of shown pity.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love Geppetto.
Great choice.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Check it out. It's on Netflix. Fantastic movie. One of the greatest animated films of the decade.
I agree.
Really,
My favorite
really
stop motion
phenomenal.
animation ever.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It is.
What's your number 6?
Number 6. This one had to be in there. And
Uh-oh.
It's Spider-Man.
Hang on a second.
The character is
His father's not even in it.
Uncle Ben.
That's right.
Uncle Ben.
That's right. Now, I'm okay with this. I know a lot of people will fight you on this.
There's a line. There's a line in the film
That's right.
after Spidey battles Green Goblin,
Mm-hmm.
and Norman Osborn tells him, "I was like a father to you. Be like
Yeah.
a son to me."
Yeah.
Peter Parker comes back with a very impactful line.
Mm-hmm.
I have a father. His name was Ben Parker.
That's right.
That is a great moment.
It is.
That's a
It
great
is.
movie moment.
Mhm.
It's
Ben's
very
one of those
standout.
classic mentors.
He's kind of the ultimate because a lot like Mufasa,
Mm-hmm.
he's really there to impart the wisdom.
Yeah.
Right. So he's with great power comes great responsibility. The
Sure.
ultimate Spider-Man line.
Yeah.
The ultimate superhero line.
Sure.
You could even say the ultimate dad line. I mean, really. I mean,
Maybe,
It's like,
yeah.
It's kind of one of those, iconic moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's very relatable. He's very kind.
For sure.
Again, he loves May. They have a
Mhm.
great relationship.
Yeah.
Very loving. And yet, when
Now,
there's
I love-
problems,
I
he
love-
confronts Peter.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
there's problems.
I love his scene in Spider-Man 2.
Oh, 100%.
The flashback in the car.
Well, yeah, it's like a, I guess you call it a dream sequence.
But
or
it's
something?
just like an emotional resolution
Right.
of Peter being able to let go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Ben's a great pick.
Yeah, played by the great Cliff Robertson,
Mhm.
great actor who's been around a long time.
Yeah, that movie really kind of changed the mythos of Spider-Man, and as far as the
Sure.
the impact of Uncle Ben
Oh yeah,
wasn't nearly as important
100%.
as it became in this,
Definitely.
which kind of led to the outrage over Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
Sure.
which kind of had no Uncle Ben.
Right.
Everyone freaked out,
Yeah.
but people forget Uncle Ben. He's in the original story, yes,
Sure.
but he never gives the responsibility line.
Right.
He's in, I think, like 3 panels, 2 or
Right.
3
Yeah.
panels. He's very,
Yeah.
very
Sure.
minor character, but
Yeah.
it's more about the death of Uncle Ben. That's kind of the
Yes,
important catalyst, the consequences of Peter's
Right.
irresponsibility.
Exactly.
So, yeah, great character for sure.
Yeah,
Awesome
Had to
pick.
be in there.
My number 5,
Mm.
thinking about our dad on this one a little bit, is Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
Now, he's also great in Vacation, but Christmas
Sure.
Vacation's the one I think that
Yes.
we always
It's one
we
we
always
watch the
think
most,
about.
yeah.
Now, this is he's the most like straightforward, like Midwestern dad.
Right.
Who's like the suburban dad who just like
Mhm.
wants to just have a good Christmas or have a good vacation or
I've
whatever.
always wanted to just have a great family Christmas.
He
here-
is.
here at the house.
He just loves his
It's the
family.
only vacation movie where they don't go on vacation.
Yeah,
Everyone,
exactly.
Everyone else is on vacation at their house.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just a great. He just wants to. He just loves his family.
Yes.
That's
he loves
really
them,
his
wants
his
them to have a
heart.
good time.
His heart is. I'm supposed to give
Make
them
everything
give them
perfect.
the best,
Right.
Because they deserve the best.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything should be perfect for them because
Right.
things weren't really perfect for me as
Sure,
a kid.
sure.
So I want to be the dad to my kids.
And
that-
but he does have good fond memories of
for
his
sure,
childhood.
for sure.
And I think he's trying to. They're kind of like it's like
It's a
what do they
selective
call it?
memory.
Rose-colored glasses.
Exactly.
He looks back on his life like it was
Yeah.
all perfect.
It's a selective
So he
memory
wants
for
to
sure.
create that again. He's like, it was all perfect,
Yeah.
so I need to make that
He becomes
happen.
and he becomes a little controlling, not necessarily over his family,
Right.
just over their circumstances.
And
He's really a victim of circumstance as
Right,
well, and that's
right.
kind of where the comedy comes in.
sure.
Is he's constantly trying to make everything perfect, and the
Yes.
circumstances just escalate to
Right.
absurdity.
Right.
Um,
And his dad
yeah,
has a great speech
For sure.
at the end of the film
Mhm.
that kind of puts him back on track.
definitely.
And so
Yeah,
I
to
might,
me,
I might
the-
call his dad the best dad in that
Well,
film.
it culminates in the. I'm getting too old for this.
Right,
Why don't you
right.
read
It's
the
your
story
turn.
tonight?
Passing the
Yeah,
baton.
yeah, it's your turn, and he reads the Christmas story to everyone at the end. So that's kind of, I think, the ultimate moment there.
It's great.
But yeah, he's a classic. Just like,
Sure.
"Arr," you
Yes,
know, like
right.
things they're
Right.
not going right,
Yeah.
but still trying to keep that smile,
Keep it
keep trying to
together.
keep
Kind
that.
of loses it a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course. He has a temper
he has
for
an
sure.
explosion.
Yeah, but
And he
it's
pulls out a chainsaw at one point. But
Chainsaw, yeah.
He doesn't kill anyone.
yeah. But it's just great. It kind of reminds me of our dad in
Yes.
some ways.
Sure.
Always one that I'll remember.
Yeah.
That's my number 5. He
Good.
made my top 5.
Wow. High praise.
High praise.
All right.
What's your number 5?
So into our top 5. These are my top 5. Man, these dads are just, to me, the best.
Mhm.
They're so great
Yeah.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
One is a very new dad.
Okay.
It's Jake Sully.
Jake Sully.
From Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yes. My Jake.
This dad is so great because he's another one of these dads who has a lot of kids,
Mm-hmm.
keeps them all in line.
That's right. He's a very militant father.
Well, he's former military.
He's a Marine
right?
dad.
He's a Marine dad.
Yeah.
But he still has the compassion. He's not all authoritarian.
Right.
He still has these moments of tenderness with his children
Mhm, mhm.
and fun.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he likes to have fun with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very adventurous.
Very
You know,
adventurous,
he's
but very
always
protective.
Very protective.
Yeah.
He has all that. You know,
Mhm.
he's very wise. He's a strategist.
Yeah.
You know, he really has a plan. You know,
Yeah,
for the family.
yeah.
Like here's what we're gonna do.
They took our daughters.
That's
We're gonna
right.
get our daughters back.
That's right. Again, very in love with Neytiri.
Yep.
Have a great back and forth.
For sure.
You know, with their parenting.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. So, yeah, he's great. He's a man of action too,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which I love. I mean, the third act of that film
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
fantastic.
It is very good.
Um,
Yeah, great pick.
favorite line is, "This family is our fortress."
Yeah, of course.
The trailer
That's
line.
that's the tentpole line of the film.
So good.
Yeah,
So
very
good.
good. I remember watching that trailer. It's one of the few trailers in recent years that I actually remember,
Oh yeah.
and I was like,
Definitely. This is
genuinely
good.
like, this is emotional and
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
I know. I know.
I was not expecting that for a
Not at all.
Avatar
I
sequel.
know. It's way
So
better than the first one, in my opinion.
I think it
really
is. I think it's far better.
I think it's great.
All right, that's your number 5.
That was 5. You're 4 now.
My number 4 is, because his name isn't in English, so I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
Okay.
But it's the father from Life is Beautiful,
Guido.
Guido. Now, Life is Beautiful.
This was very close to me.
This is a very heavy
It is.
and emotional film,
But
but the whole point
very funny.
is that
Like it's silly.
he is protecting his son's innocence. He protects him physically.
Mhm.
This is a World War II film.
Right. Concentration camp.
Concentration camp. This
In
is a
Italy.
Jewish
Family.
small family in Germany. They have a small business, and Nazis start overtaking the city and everything. He and his son get taken into a concentration camp,
Mm-hmm.
and this whole time he's convincing his son that this is a game that they're playing.
So he doesn't freak out.
So he doesn't
Yeah.
get scared,
Right.
so that he's able to still be a child,
Right.
and that's
Exactly.
really
Yeah, that's incredible.
that's the emotional
Oh,
punch of the film is
Oh,
that
amazing.
he managed to not only save his son but save his childhood and save
Yeah.
his sense of
Right.
innocence.
Right.
So
Incredible.
yeah,
Great
fantastic
performance.
story.
It's a great performance. The actor.
Yeah.
It's one
amazing.
of my favorite movie performances ever.
Yeah.
Because he knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He's freaked out.
Yeah.
He knows they might not survive.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to keep it as light and fun as he can for his kid
Yeah.
because he wants to protect him. It's great. It's a great,
Yeah,
great
it's
movie.
it's truly an amazing film. Definitely
Sure.
check out Life is Beautiful.
Yes.
It's
100%.
not for the faint of heart, but very, very good.
But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 4
Yep.
is one of my favorite westerns of all time, 3:10 to Yuma.
Okay.
3:10 to Yuma, I think, is a perfect film.
It's a great western.
I've watched it numerous times.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen it twice.
It's great.
Yeah, very good.
They remade it in 2007. The remake's great too, but I prefer the original.
Yeah.
Van Heflin plays Dan Evans.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rancher who is going through a drought. Okay, so the ranch isn't really bringing in the money they need.
Right.
So he and his 2 young sons
Mhm.
are out and they witness a stagecoach robbery
That's right.
by the notorious outlaw Ben Wade,
Mm-hmm.
played by Glenn Ford. And they ride into town, and they find Ben Wade there, and the posse surrounds them.
Yeah.
And the sheriff says, "I need 2 men to take him to the 310 to Yuma train
Mm-hmm.
to get him to the prison.
Yeah.
Willing to pay $200." Which back then it's like
Yeah.
10 grand.
Yeah. Sure.
So he's like, "I'll do it." So it's about this journey
Mm-hmm.
between this very honorable,
Yep.
moral
Yep.
father
Mm-hmm.
and this notorious outlaw
Yeah.
who's constantly trying to escape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great
and
film.
He's trying to bribe him.
Yeah.
He's like, 10,000, I'll pay you more than that.
Yeah.
Just let me go. He's like, no. Justice must be served.
Yeah, he's a great character.
He's such a good character, and I almost picked the remake because the remake has the son with him.
Yeah,
the whole way
that's
through.
the only thing I was gonna say is the reason I didn't really think about that
Yeah.
one is because I forgot he was a dad completely.
Right.
Because there's stuff early on, but yeah.
Yeah.
He is a terrific classic white hat character.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. He's very honorable. He's the whole mission. The whole reason he's there is because he's providing for his family.
Yeah.
He has really no other option.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing whatever it takes, even though he's never done this before. He's
Right.
not a gunfighter.
Yeah,
He's not this kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes through with it. And as much as he doesn't like Ben Wade, he doesn't treat him with like contempt or anything.
Yeah.
He still shows him kindness.
No, he's still a man. Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and it's really, really good. So
It's a good pick.
It's a character that I just really like, and so whichever version you watch, maybe the remake does have more of a father element because again the son
Sure.
is with him on the
Yeah.
journey.
Okay.
But both are great
Good.
films. So
Good.
that made number 4.
That's a great number 4. My number 3.
3. What do you got?
This is a classic for me.
Okay.
Couldn't imagine this list without this one.
Okay.
My number 3, making my top 3 best movie dads,
Top 3.
is Pops from Speed Racer.
Oh yeah, John Goodman, man.
John Goodman.
Great in that.
Oh boy, is he great. Pops to me, he's the best. It's hard to say he's not the best.
Right.
Because he's just the great amount of supportive father,
Mm-hmm.
passionate about racing,
Yeah.
passionate about his family.
Yeah.
He's protective over them.
He does great work too. He takes
does-
pride in his work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he teaches his children
Mhm.
his
to do
trade,
everything to the best of their ability.
to do everything
Yeah.
as hard as they can do it
Mhm.
because this is in their blood.
Oh.
And they love it. His
Yeah.
children love it.
Oh yeah.
If his children didn't love it, he would still do what they wanted to do.
Sure,
He would still
sure.
support them.
Oh yeah.
Like he does with Trixie.
Right. Right.
But yeah, Pops is just so good. To me, a few standout scenes for him in Speed Racer is the great mirror scenes
Mm.
of when Rex leaves compared to when Speed is trying to
Oh
leave.
yeah. Great.
Those are perfect.
Those
are perfect scenes.
I also love the scene when he's on the couch with young Speed.
Young Speed, yeah,
and he's about
for
to fall
sure.
asleep, and then the race, and
The
then
race
he
starts.
jumps up and starts
Yeah,
yelling.
he starts
and
yelling.
Speed like is watching,
Yeah, yeah.
and he like joins in.
Right after their brothers passed away.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and he's
It
lost
kinda
all
brings the joy back.
passion
Yeah.
for racing,
Mhm.
and yeah, he kind of becomes a real father. again.
He becomes overprotective, as any parent would if something tragic like that
Sure,
happened.
yeah.
But he does end up fully supporting Speed.
And
in what
he's a
doing.
dad in every generation. He fathers Rex, he fathers
Right.
Speed, and he fathers Spritle.
That's right.
And
right.
he really kind of fathers Sparky a little bit too.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's just cool to see his parenting style from Speed compared
Yeah,
to
how it
Rex,
changes.
and then compared to Spritle.
Right.
The way that he parents them is a little different.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like for Spritle, he's a little less patient.
Right.
He's like, "Go outside,
Yeah.
you're too pale."
Right.
You know, hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
And then with Speed, he's trying not to lose Speed,
Mhm.
like he did with Rex,
Mhm.
because Rex, he had such expectations of Rex,
Yeah.
and when he did something he wasn't ready for,
Mhm, mhm.
he kind of just like shut him off,
Yeah,
and it was
that's
like,
true.
if you leave that door, you better not come back.
That's right.
And that's like, ooh,
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah.
And then when Speed tries to leave,
Right.
he says, "Sit down, have a
Right.
conversation
Right.
with me.
Yeah.
Let me tell
Totally
you.
different approach.
Let me tell you.
Yep.
I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're always welcome back
right.
here,
Right.
regardless of where you go or what you do
Yeah.
or who you become."
Yeah.
So
Great.
yeah, I love Pops.
Great pick. He
Can't-
protects him too. He's tough.
He's
I
a
mean,
world
he
wrestling
He
champion.
gets in on the fights.
He throws around those ninjas
That's
like they're
right.
nothing.
That's right.
And if you haven't seen Speed Racer and this sounds insane,
Oh,
it is
man.
insane, and it's worth watching.
It's so
Definitely check out Speed Racer. Pops. He's
a
a top
lot.
3 dads for me.
I can't argue. I can't argue. It's a great pick.
Not to mention, he loves his wife. He loves
Oh, yeah,
his whole family.
absolutely,
They're
absolutely.
amazing together.
Yes, they
The
are.
best thing he's
They're a
ever
great
done.
family.
One of my favorite lines he has is, the best things I ever did was marry my best friend and have you boys.
Right.
And that's just great.
That's good.
I just love that.
Good stuff. Excellent choice. Moving on to one of our family favorite films.
This
Our whole
one,
family has watched this numerous
I
times.
love this film. I know you're gonna have it. It's pained me not to put it on my list, but I knew you were gonna have it. So
Shenandoah,
Shenandoah.
starring the great James Stewart
That's right.
as Charlie Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
the patriarch of the Anderson family.
Yeah.
The mother tragically passed away
Mhm.
before this story begins, and he's got children of all ages. Most of them are older, becoming adults.
Yeah. This is really a story about faith.
100%.
The faith, because
100%.
he's carrying on the faith of their mother.
Yes.
That's not his own.
It's not his own.
No.
Correct.
And there are some
Yeah.
amazing lines by
There
him.
are.
Thank you for, he's the first blessing at the table.
Yes.
Thank you for this food that we worked for,
Right.
that we put on the table,
Right.
we sweated for. For some reason, we're thanking you for
Right,
this.
yeah.
It's so
Right.
funny. So good. And a great arc
It
for
is.
him.
Totally, yeah. So he develops his own faith.
Right.
You know, the faith is imparted to him
Mhm.
as the film goes on. And the way he deals with all of his children. There's
Yeah.
so many different children going through different things. You know, the
Different stages in life.
Daughter wants to get married. You know, the son goes off to war. It's all
Mhm.
set during the American Civil War.
One of his kids is having a son, having a daughter. you
That's
know?
right. That's right.
It's very
so
cool.
He's becoming a grandfather.
Yeah, yeah.
So many different things, and just the way he handles everything. The way he, you know, again, like we're talking about, kind of has his own journey
Mhm.
as they go out looking for one of his lost sons. That's
right.
kind of the majority of the story.
Yeah.
You know, he defends his family with violence if necessary.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, he's just imparting a lot of wisdom.
Mhm. Mhm.
He's a very strong character.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can tell his children really love him and care about him.
Mhm. Mhm.
And even though, you know, they don't always see eye to eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is great. That's a very relatable, realistic dynamic that they all have. And there's, again, so many different, because there's so many kids,
Mhm.
you get to kind of see a lot of that kind of play out. So it's really good. Really
Yeah,
good movie.
very good.
One of our family
Excellent
favorites. He's a very honest
Mhm.
and open character, which
Yeah.
I think is good. He has a lot of great, there's that great conversation on the porch that he has,
Mhm,
you know, with
mhm.
one of them. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so many memorable moments. So Shenandoah is a movie that you should definitely seek out if you haven't
Definitely.
seen
Yeah. Shenandoah's very
Check
good.
it out.
Mhm.
So one of my favorite James Stewart performances.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
had a
Is
great
that on,
career.
that's on? We have that on Blu-ray now.
It's on Blu-ray. It's right here.
Wasn't
There
that
it is.
released recently? Relatively
Fairly
recently.
recently. Yeah, Kino Lorber put this out a couple years
Okay.
back.
Great.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
check
because
it
I
out.
know we've had the DVD copy for forever.
That's right. That's
But
right.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Shenandoah's
All
a
right.
great pick.
What do you have at 2?
My number 2, it's got to be Mr. Incredible.
Da 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 da.
Now, specifically, I love him in Incredibles 2. As a dad,
Okay.
I think he really gets his moment to shine.
I think he has more of an arc in 1 though.
He has more of an arc, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think he might be a better dad in 2.
I see what you mean. He's with
So-
the kids in 2.
We're really talking about his character here.
Sure.
So, Mr. Incredible goes from wanting to relive those glory days. I love how Incredible starts.
Yeah.
It starts with every character saying what they think they'll be like
Right.
in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr.
The younger
Incredibles is
versions,
like, you know, maybe I'll just settle down and like, start a family. You know, I
Right.
don't want to be a superhero forever.
Elastigirl's
like, settle down. No way.
Yeah.
And eventually, when they actually do settle down, it's flipped.
And Elastigirl loves it.
Elastigirl loves being a
She's a
mom,
great
and
mom.
she's adjusting really well to
Mhm.
it. And Mr. Incredible just like is kind of depressed
Yeah.
and is like lost
Working
his
his 9 to 5.
sense of value. You know,
Well, because the supers had to go underground. That
exactly.
was a big
Yeah,
part
and it was
of-
kind of his fault.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of weight on him,
Right.
and he feels like he can't be himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to prove himself
Right.
to his family.
Right.
He has to prove to them that he can be Mr. Incredible again.
Right.
So it's a great emotional arc for them.
Yeah.
And then his family comforting him and saying, "We don't need you to be Mr. Incredible.
Right,
we just
right,
need you to
yeah.
be Bob.
Dad, yeah.
Yeah, we
Sir
need you to be Dad."
Yeah.
And that's just great. Having
Yeah.
his kids help him in the end,
Mm.
all their whole families together.
Yes.
And then in Incredibles 2, he kind of takes the fathership role to
Right.
the next level,
Right.
where he's at home with the kids and he's
Right.
like teaching Dash how to do school, and he's helping Violet with her boyfriend,
Right,
and he's
right.
but he's just great. He just has a heart for his kids,
Yes.
and he just wears himself down to nothing
Yeah.
because he tries so hard.
Right.
And there's a great line by Violet where Mr. Incredible's on the couch, just exhausted.
Mm.
He's like, "I'm sorry about Tony
Yeah.
Tony Reidinger.
Right.
I've kind of wrecked everything. I'm trying to get everything together. It's just
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to be a good dad." Is
Right,
really all he's
right.
trying to say. And Violet's like, "You're not just a good dad. You're super," and that's great.
Yeah.
So Mr. Incredible, he's I love the Incredibles films. Both
Yeah.
of them are fantastic.
Fantastic,
So yeah, he's my number 2. He's my number 2.
Worthy choice
Yeah.
for your number 2. Excellent choice. Going over from one of your favorite franchises to one of my favorite.
Okay.
It's none other than Professor Henry Jones Sr.
Junior. That's right.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite films ever made. Second only to Raiders of the Lost Ark, really.
It's incredible.
It's a perfect movie. It's, to me, the ultimate Father's Day movie. If we were just talking about Father's Day movies, like movies about fathers.
Yeah,
This is the one I throw on every time.
it's a great pick.
Because it's all about Henry and, we'll call him Junior's relationship.
Junior.
You know?
Yeah.
It's that whole dynamic from the very beginning. People forget he's in the opening sequence.
Yeah.
We don't see him.
We don't see
but
his
we hear
face.
him.
He's very stern.
With very stern, very Junior, Count in Greek, It's
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
So he's one of those dads that, as you learn more about him, very much a disciplinarian, very authoritative.
Mm-hmm. There's a little
Very
bit of him
intelligent.
There's a little bit of him in the Young Indiana Jones Adventures.
That's true.
By the
That's
way.
true. Yeah. He
Which
shows up in a couple
he's
episodes.
I actually kind of like him there.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
line that I'll
interesting.
always remember, where I think Indy's like being thrust into some war or something in the Young Adventures,
Mhm.
and the people with him are like, "Aren't you worried about like they'll kill you?" He's like, "Kill me? If I'm not back in time, Dad is going to do worse than kill me."
That's great.
It's great.
Yeah, it's a great
There's so many
moment.
great lines.
But
But yeah, an interesting character for sure.
yeah, he's very layered because the mother does pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when their relationship seems to diverge.
Sure.
And so, in this film, we get to see that from Professor Jones's perspective.
Yeah.
He taught him self-reliance. That's what he was. He was like,
Sure.
he was trying to help him.
Yeah.
He just went about it in a way that there was no love.
Right.
You can tell there was no care about.
Yeah.
You left just when you were getting interesting. It was like,
Mhm.
well, when you're a kid, you have to it's like he just wanted to. It feels like he wanted a partner, like a
Sure.
adventure partner,
Yeah.
or an archaeology partner.
Right.
Basically, is what he
Right.
wanted.
A
More
student.
than a son,
A student.
a student. He treated him a lot like a student.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Which is ironic because Indy actually became a professor.
Of course, yeah, he followed in his father's footsteps. But great character, great dynamic between the two. I love, when they do have that conversation on the blimp, right? The blimp scene,
Of course.
and
No ticket.
no ticket, right? Exactly. And they sit down and they have a conversation, and he's like, "We never even talked." He's like, "Well, what do you want to talk about?" He closes the book. Let's talk.
Let's talk right now. What do you want to talk about?
He's like, "Well, I don't know." Yeah, he's like, "I don't know what I'm going to talk about." So
Yeah, it's so
just
fun.
It's fun. It's funny.
Their dichotomy is very fun to watch.
They're very different yet very similar, characters.
And
in
it works on
ways.
multiple levels. It works even on the levels of the actors. Of like, this is
100%.
Sean Connery was Bond.
James Bond,
He was
right.
like the action
prototype
hero man.
of Indiana Jones.
He was the action hero guy
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the longest time.
right.
And now Harrison Ford has stepped into that role,
Right.
and he's Han Solo, and he's
Right.
Indy, and he's He's doing all these cool action movies.
Sean Connery's kind of the bumbling professor.
Exactly.
Character. It's
A
such
different
a departure for Connery.
For sure.
I mean, it was like
more of a comedic character than anything.
very comedic, you know. But again, very intelligent and
Yeah.
a very interesting character, like
Mhm.
a full, well-rounded character.
For sure.
The best moment in the film, of course, it all builds to the end
The Grail.
when, you know, the whole movie he calls him Junior. He says,
Mhm.
"Don't call me Junior. I don't like that."
You were named after the
know?
dog?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, Indy is hanging off the side of this chasm.
Yeah.
And the Grail is right there. He can
Mhm.
almost reach it. His dad's
Right
holding
after
on
right
to it.
after his
Right
scene with
after
Elsa.
Elsa did the same
Did the
thing.
exact same
And she
situation.
fell to her death.
Yeah.
And he's there, and he's like, "I can get it."
He
This
is
what
he is
the whole
even he
movie-
is closer to the Grail than Elsa
He's
even
closer. The whole movie, they've been trying to get this thing,
Mhm.
which is really, and it's another layer that's interesting to that
Yeah.
is it's his dad's mission. Really,
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
even him that was going after it.
Right.
It was his dad that
Right.
was going after it. So he's like, "I can get it. It's right there." And he finally says, "Indiana."
Mhm.
Calls him Indiana. He's like, "This is more important."
Yeah.
The Grail. Who cares about the Grail?
Mhm.
Our relationship is what matters.
Exactly.
That's what this whole movie has been about.
Yeah.
That's what the whole story is. So
Very cool.
it's a great moment. One of my favorite moments.
It's and it's
Movies,
got maybe
maybe.
the most perfect ending of any movie. The riding off
It's
into
perfect.
the sunset.
It's a perfect ending. They all ride off. You
That's
know,
right.
Following Marcus,
Yeah.
who got lost in his own museum.
Marcus. We love Marcus.
Marcus is a great mentor figure.
We should do
best mentor
a
figure.
best like side character,
Yeah.
support character.
Right. Him and Sala would both be.
It's like who would I even pick?
I don't
I love
know.
them
I don't
both
know.
dearly.
I know. Great. So yeah, Professor Henry Jones Sr.
That's your number two.
My number 2 is really close to being number 1.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that of all the fathers, Indy's father didn't make your number one.
I know. It's crazy.
Um,
All right. What do you have at number 1?
My number one, it had to be. It couldn't be anyone else. This is maybe our father's favorite movie, Father.
Okay.
This is Carassitas Potts from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yes. Dick Van Dyke.
This
the one and only.
Dick Van Dyke, of course. We just call him Dick Van
Who
Dyke.
just turned 98 or something.
He's like
And just
100.
won
He's
an-
like 190.
Won an Emmy.
He's like
He's
490.
the oldest person to ever win an Emmy.
It's
He just won an
amazing.
Emmy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
He didn't.
He's still
He didn't.
dancing
He
on
didn't win.
tables.
Hey, he didn't win an Emmy until he was 490.
Right. Exactly.
Pop Elf would have been a good pick for this list.
Walter Hobbs too.
Yeah, Walter
He has
Hobbs.
a great arc.
Sure, good arc.
Yeah.
But it's Mr. Potts.
Yeah.
It's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
There's so much of our dad in this character. This is one of our dad's
Well, he grew up watching this
favorite
film.
childhood films.
He grew up. Grandma read this book to him
That's right.
when he was young.
This is a entrepreneurial character
He's an
who
inventor.
he's an inventor. Not from Texas. He's an inventor. And he's always being creative with his kids.
Yes.
He's always
He's very
playing,
imaginative.
Yes.
He's a dreamer.
He's playing games with them. He's singing to them. Lullaby Mountain is one of the greatest songs
I sing
maybe
that to my kids all the
in
time.
any movie. It's literally a magical song. It will put
It's
children
great.
to sleep.
It will. I have proof.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's
Yeah.
he's such a good dad. He has a great dad in the form of
His dad
Mr.
is-
Potter.
His dad is one of the funniest characters.
Yeah,
ever
off to
put
England, my
film.
boy. Literally,
Every line out of his mouth is hysterical.
yeah, it is.
Every movement.
because it's nonsensical.
It's nonsensical.
The whole time he's speaking like he's this adventurer going on all these crazy adventures, and all he's
Right.
doing is going into an outhouse and sitting down.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It's hilarious.
so good.
But yeah, we love Mr. Potter because
Yes.
he loves his kids,
Loves his kids. He'll do
and
anything for his kids.
he is down on his luck. He's got to make a buck,
It's,
you know.
It's tough times.
And all he wants is for these kids to get this car that they want
They love this
from
car.
from the literal junkyard.
Junkyard, yeah.
He needs like 10 shillings or something and doesn't have it.
Nothing, yeah.
So, yeah, he does everything he can. He works as hard as he can,
Yeah.
gets that money and builds this
Yeah.
car into
Yeah.
the car that they imagine it to be.
Right.
He makes their imaginations come to life.
Correct.
He shows his kids that your dreams can become reality. And that's
Yeah.
the most powerful thing,
It
I
is.
think, about this
It
character.
is, 100%.
Something I definitely see in our dad.
Yeah, 100%. Great pick. Great character.
Mhm.
So many fun moments.
Oh, yeah.
The songs.
Of course.
All of it. I mean, every moment in that movie is, like you said, it's just magic.
Mhm.
It's pure magic.
It is. It is.
Cinemagic.
Cinemagic. Absolutely.
Great choice. Great choice.
All right. That's my number one. That's my list.
That's your number one. That's your top 10. That's a great
Top 10. Yeah, it's strong.
This was one of the hardest lists to make.
It was
It really
tough.
was. My number one, though, one of my favorite characters in all of fiction is Superman.
Yep.
And his father, Jonathan Kent.
Jonathan Kent.
Another one of these, a couple of these that we've mentioned are adoptive fathers.
Sure.
Which, to me is a whole nother level of fatherhood. Because it's like,
yeah,
no relation, no blood, but I'm going to treat you as if you are related to me. Great picture of the gospel. And so Jonathan Kent had to make it, specifically in Man of Steel. Because in the other films, he's barely there. He's in like one scene.
Right.
Glenn Ford played a great Jonathan Kent in the original Superman. He's in 2 scenes, literally. He's got about 5 minutes of screen time. I didn't pick Jor-El either, because again, I feel like very limited screen time. Jonathan Kent is the father.
He's Superman's dad.
It's especially if you watch Smallville. It's like, this is his dad.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was going to say is...
I'd like to pick Smallville, but we're doing movies.
Of course.
This is the closest to the Smallville dad we've had on screen.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner, one of my favorite actors of all time. Fantastic actor. This is one of... I genuinely think this performance, it might be his best performance he's ever given in any movie.
Until we see American West...
Horizon.
American Saga.
That's right. Coming out this summer.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Kent is one of those great characters because, again, he brings in this small, helpless baby. I mean, in Man of Steel, he's literally a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally totally helpless. It's not like he's 5 years old or something walking around yet or anything. They bring him in, him and Martha raise this child with these crazy abilities that could destroy them at any moment. And yet, they're stalwart the whole way through. They see it through. They never say, you know what, this is just too much. Let's take this kid to the government or something, or let's...
Yeah.
Because they know what would happen. So he's a protector, 100%.
Yeah.
He's a provider. He's a farmer. He's a hard worker. Blue-collar guy. Down to earth.
Yeah.
Normal dude.
Really, what I think makes Jonathan Kent so powerful is he really just wants Clark to have a normal life.
Yes.
He really just wants him to be a kid and to just be his son.
Right.
100%.
And that great moment when he reveals to Clark, you're not even from Earth.
Yeah.
You're not my son. Not only are you not, did we not give birth to you?
Yeah.
But you're from another world.
You're not really even human.
Right.
Yeah.
And, oh man, that great moment of Clark just saying, can I just keep pretending that I'm your son?
Yeah.
Because you are my son.
Yeah.
It's a great moment. So he's very reassuring. He's very caring.
Yeah.
He cares about, what Clark feels and what Clark is going through.
And as like indestructible as Superman is, he's always worried about what the world will do to him.
100%. He's very protective. You could say he's overprotective. You could go that far, but it's a very unique situation we have here.
Definitely.
It's not a normal parenting situation.
Well, I like it. I like that he's overprotecting in that story specifically because it's Clark growing beyond the wishes of his father.
Right.
All his dad wanted him to be was his son.
Right.
But Clark sees like my responsibility. Mine is a higher calling.
Yes, exactly.
Than just being a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's why it's called Man of Steel.
Of course.
Because he's just the Man of Steel. He's wandering around. He doesn't really know what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
He becomes Superman at the end.
I think it'd be a great movie even if he didn't have powers.
Oh, 100%.
This would be a great just emotional drama about a guy coming to terms with his past, with being adopted, and being kind of isolated from other people for a long time.
It is.
Just a journey of self-discovery.
That's what the movie is.
Yeah.
It just happens to have some huge action sequences with amazing, characters doing amazing things.
Yeah, definitely where its strength lies is in the father-son story.
Yeah, to me, that's the heart of the film, 100%. It's all about that. It's all about, is the world ready to even know that I exist? I don't know. My father didn't think so.
Yeah.
And, of course, I guess it's a controversial scene when he dies.
Sure.
He does not allow his son to save him. And people think, well, Superman should have just saved him. He could have found a way to do it. Well, he really couldn't. In that specific situation, he couldn't. And it's a son obeying.
Clark says,
obeying his father's wishes.
Yeah, Clark says, my father was convinced the world wasn't ready.
Right. Yeah.
He was right.
We see in Batman v Superman, he was clearly right.
He was definitely right. In the world of Man of Steel.
Right. Yeah, definitely was not ready.
Which makes me kind of curious about Jonathan's past. Like, how worldly was he really? Like, how much did he really understand about people?
I think it implies that he did go out into the world, left Kansas.
Yeah.
And he
I think he had a big
was.
history.
Yeah. I think so too.
For sure.
He's got great moments throughout. You know, his scenes are sprinkled throughout with these flashbacks. And one of my favorites is when the bullies are bullying Clark.
Yeah.
And you know, Jonathan comes over after the bullies leave and they've pushed him down.
The Sullivan mechanic shop.
Sullivan, right? Smallville reference. Snyder knows, man.
Snyder knows. I know. Yeah.
So he comes over and he basically says, "Yeah, you could have torn those guys apart. You could have,
literally,
you know, done whatever you wanted to do to them." And he has that speech. I forget the exact wording, but it's you have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be.
Right.
Because whoever that is, he's going to change the world is going to be changed by whoever you end up being.
Yeah.
So you need to decide what kind of person you're going to be. And the morals they instill in him, you know, is why he becomes the hero.
Right.
That he is.
Yeah.
It's all because of his parents.
That's always been Superman's heart. It's in Smallville.
100%.
Yeah.
He is Clark. He's Clark Kent. That's who he is. That's who he grew up to be.
Yeah.
That's who he is at his core. He later discovers he's Kal-El of Krypton.
Right.
And he becomes Superman.
And a lot of different stories interpret it differently. I mean, some of them have him straight up denying his Kryptonian heritage.
Sure.
Some of them he's very proud that he's the last Kryptonian.
Right.
Especially when they like involve Supergirl and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a really cool way of. I mean, to me, the heart of Superman is always, more than anything, he wants to be human. He wants to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, to me, in some ways, he's more human than some humans.
Sure. Well, I think that's what's interesting about his relationship with Batman.
Yeah.
Especially from the comics, it's very like.
And
Batman,
in the movie too.
Yeah, and in the movie, but Batman's trying very hard, in the same way that Lex is trying, to be more Kryptonian.
To be a Superman.
To be more
he wants
Kryptonian.
To be a Superman.
Yeah, to be more like just intellectual and unstoppable and a force of nature. You know.
Superman just wants to like.
And denying his humanity, denying his humanity, and for the sake of the mission,
relationships and have a normal life.
But Clark just like being a newspaper boy, helping out Bibbo at the docks, and being pals with Jimmy. To me, that's really Superman, and I'd like to see more of that.
And it's all because of his parents in Smallville.
Sure, always hold on to Smallville.
That's it. So that's it, folks. That's our list of our top 10 favorite movie dads.
That's right.
The big 100th episode is next week.
That's right.
Make sure you share this online with your dad. Have a conversation with your own dad about the best movie dads.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Happy Father's Day to our dad.
Yep.
Should be a lot of fun. So leave a comment below with your favorite movie dads. All the ones we didn't mention. Taken.
Of course.
It's going to be a big one. How did you omit Taken? We Bought a Zoo, maybe?
We Bought a Zoo, sure.
Family Man.
Yeah.
You mentioned Elf.
Yep, Elf is a great one. Walter Hobbs.
So there's a lot of dads out there. We could have talked about 100 dads. Like I said, I've got a list on Letterboxd, so check us out. We're both on Letterboxd.
That's right.
Follow us there. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos, and we'll see you next time right here on The Real World.